Well, hello and welcome to another full 80 minutes on Show Me the Money Rugby League TV on YouTube. As always, thank you very much to everybody who is subscribing and supporting us. We had a number of shows last week with over 2,000 and over 3,000 views. So Craig is happy, Jim is happy, Joe's happy. The content is going to keep rolling, and between now and the end of this week's full 80 minutes, we're going to talk a little bit about IMG. There was another big meeting on Thursday in Manchester. And of course the World Cup started. How could we not forget? England against Samoa. Yeah, I do apologise. Mine's in the wash. It'll be back next week. But yeah, the World Cup started with a bang. IMG, we're going to focus on that. And if you're watching this and wondering why it's a little bit shorter than usual, what we're doing is, if you look on Show Me the Money Rugby League YouTube channel, we're cutting segments, so there'll be 10 minutes on players, 10 minutes on Bradford, 10 minutes on Leeds, 10 minutes on this, 10 minutes on that. So that's what we're trying to do, making a bit more.
The show will still stay.
Yeah, the show's still going to stay. It'll be a little bit shorter than usual, but there will be more content and 10-minute segments for you to enjoy. I saw Mary and Steph yesterday at Headingley. Craig, I don't know how we missed you. You must have...
Well, me and Joe did see you, but we were hiding round the corner. What about this, Mick?
We're gonna say
we did see you.
You must have been ahead of us, but yeah, he must have realised Mick's coming round with better scarper. But no, it was a good experience yesterday at Headingley. The crowd at the end, really good. A lot of Jamaican people, very passionate, despite that result, and I know they're going to go to Hull on Friday for their game against New Zealand. And
can we start off with World Cup, because you've got me juices flowing straight away there, and if you take me into IMG, I'm going to forget. Can we do the IMG in the second part?
Yeah, we can talk about IMG in the second part.
Because you've just said something there, and it's been on my mind all night, and I'll put it to you. If you watched that yesterday, and they put the crowd at
6,020.
I'm only being honest. I didn't see 6,020. I hope there were.
I did.
There you go. Jimmy did. So if you got whether they were or not, which I'm sure there is, they won't get the numbers wrong. Just to bolster the World Cup and the figures, it wouldn't happen. So if you look at that, Mick, as somebody who watches rugby for the first time, there are a lot of people there who I've not seen before at Headingley. That were a great Jamaican feel. The part of Leeds where they can't, brilliant atmosphere, absolutely fantastic. We had some guys behind. Jason Robinson were in front of us, behind us. It were brilliant actually. I felt a real warm feeling. Yeah. But then you watch on the pitch, and you're thinking, I don't want to see Jamaica got beat by
46 points.
46. And I looked at some of the collisions when you've got lads who were maybe not even playing Championship Champ 1. Let's be honest, some of them lads are not even playing at a semi-professional standard. They might have been, so Jamaica just to turn up and compete. What's going to happen, Mick, when they play New Zealand and what was the other one?
Lebanon.
And I watched Lebanon last night, they were sensational. What will happen? Is that good for the sport if Jamaica get beat 120-0? Well, which is chances are it's going to be 120-0.
Well, we're not saying it's going to be 120-0. There is the chance it could go out. Yeah, I agree.
But I'm saying to you there, and then this is, please believe me, I'm a massive Jamaican. I'm massively into backing the sport. Any new product, they've deserved to be in there. But I'm thinking, how are you going to put it on BBC? And that's going to happen. And they got a standing ovation because of the effort. We were all doing it. We could not believe. But I was thinking, is there any way we can help Jamaica? Like, could they have a team in Champ 1 and start a franchise and then build it on that? Because if every 2 years you put together players randomly as quick as you can to get this World Cup side, is there any future in them getting better and better and better each year?
But I think
because they've got to have a footnote of getting better. What can they get to Beckham?
But I think the hope is that what was really nice yesterday was the Jamaican fans there was a lot of people probably quite new to rugby, or it might have just last seen them play internationally. It's the ultimate case of people bringing their mates and trying to get more people in there, isn't it? It definitely worked well for that. But I think their aim is, and they knew there were 30 odd points on the handicap. They knew it wasn't a game they could win. It was all about enjoying it. I think the long-term aim is that with the new people coming to watch it, and with the marketing and the publicity that Jamaica would do really quite well off the field, there'll be more people playing the game at grassroots level, and then they'll come through. They'll see Dom Young playing for England and his brother playing for Jamaica, and they'll see, right, these lads are going on to become superstars. We don't necessarily just have to play this sport. Let's give Rugby League a go. I think it's a very long-term journey to make it a more prevalent sport.
Again, I'll ask the question, how can we help them based on what you're saying? Should there be another group where you could have put do you know what I mean? Jamaica's in there. No, you can't change the groups.
They've qualified, haven't they? So they've got
that's the spirit of a World Cup. Every single World Cup has a sport where, sadly, some teams...
let me tell you though, Joe, this is a collision sport, so let me tell you, if this were boxing, and there's a World Cup of boxing, and you had number one contender fighting, they'd say it's not, that you wouldn't dare do it. For health and safety reasons. I looked at some of them Jamaican
the Olympics, though. But do you have that in the Olympics?
Never.
You don't think there's a huge growth in boxing at the Olympics?
Yeah, but again, it's over 3 rounds, over 2 minutes. It's so different to saying put the Joshua Tyson in with number 100 rated. Yeah. You wouldn't be allowed to do it.
Yeah.
It'd be called... What I'm saying is I'm thinking of some good ideas based on that. I loved it. I'm absolutely bouncing. I don't want no negatives on Jamaica. This is not about that.
I know what you mean.
I'm on about ideas, how you could structure it better for them to come. I actually think some of them semi-professional lads next week. Did you see Collision in New Zealand last night? I'm thinking, I actually wincing because I know what some of them background. They've just turned up, and some of them are not, and they're just. I get scared.
I mean, to be fair, I'm not sure there was any in the Jamaica team who weren't League One or Champ players.
Well, some that don't have, some that didn't play it.
It's not like there's amateur players there, is there?
No, not amateur, but you know what I'm saying, lads.
I know what you're saying. But
you don't think 110 kilos next week he's going to come at you at 30 mile an hour.
Yeah, I know.
And you're working next day, and I'm looking and thinking, oh my God, and they're going to come at him for 80 minutes.
I will say on the flip side, I imagine all the Jamaican players can't wait to have the privilege of playing again, the opportunity to play. And if I speak on Aaron Jones-Bishop's behalf, who 3 years ago, horrible injury, might never have played again, had to have 2 years out, COVID, he's gone on a journey. The World Cup was always what he wanted to do. He wanted to be part of that. The chances were dropping as the year goes by. He goes to get to chance. They're all excited, but they have an opportunity to play against some of the best players in the world. And they'll back themselves. And I know what you're saying about the physicality, and let's hope that, there is no injuries and what have you, but I just think they'll be delighted. Just like if you were, in another sport and you got to play against Brazil.
Could they go in the championship, Mick? Could Jamaica get a franchise?
No. I like the idea. And just on your point, Jimmy, regarding Jamaica team, there were 3 or 4 League One players in there, like Aaron Jones-Bishop from Cornwall, Moagoro, Keith Cougars. So there were a couple.
Yeah, Jordan Andrade,
I think he's unattached. He's no club at the minute. Because I spoke to Jordan after the game, and he's hoping he has a successful World Cup. So
brilliant.
He joins the club because he wants to stay in the sport. I think fundamentally, and I think this is where the sport of Rugby League probably has to decide, because previously the Rugby League World Cups only had 12 teams. We've gone to 16 now. We've increased it. And previously, if you remember, like the last World Cup in 2013, there was the Men's World Cup, and then there was something called the Emerging World Cup, which would have had your Jamaicas in there, and the worry
Spain,
and no disrespect to Nathan Gray and Mark Dunning and Lee Beattie at Scotland. After what I watched yesterday, certainly before going into Headingley, you'd probably put Scotland in there. Wales face Cook Islands at Lee on Wednesday. You probably, again, depending on that result, but
I just love it. If I could see that even in the World Cup, if they had a group there and they said, right, one of them going to go through, which then they're going to have to be put against, maybe on one game they're put against one of the top tiers, maybe on one.
I agree, Craig.
But that first 4, if they played against each other, I'd love to go watch Jamaica v Spain and see. I've been to England Knights game and I saw them get bashed there. I'd love to see Jamaica
have a chance.
Yeah. But Bish and them deserve it.
Yeah.
They've been going there for 5 years. And I watched Bish walk off, and I'd studied Bish when he walked off, and his head were down, and they loved it. They were waving at the fans. The fans are amazing. They're bringing so much to this World Cup, and there'll probably be more atmosphere in the 2,000 or 3,000 of them than we've had in World Cup. So they're amazing. But would you just not like to see them have a proper dignity?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I do know what you mean.
I just feel so bad. Like New Zealand's coming.
I think. But I mean, to be honest, the list of teams that New Zealand would do the same to is massive anyway. So, I mean, I think the fact that they managed to qualify, and they had a lot of competitive games when they were trying to qualify for the World Cup. So to get there now, I'm sure it's just a case of, San Marino getting to the World Cup in football.
Yeah.
They know they're going to get.
But it's not a physical. Only thing with San Marino, it's not you running a ball in 20 mile an hour into.
But again, Jordan, looking for a club, he's told me for the last 3 months, I'll wait for this World Cup. He can't wait to try and test himself. All he needs is one big hit. If he gets one big hit on one of the New Zealand players,
and all he needs is one big hit back.
But he's at the moment he's
what
without
chance of Jordan laying one of them out?
But what if he does? What if he connects and hits one of them, and then he gets this highlight that goes viral?
I get it.
He's got a chance.
But you're on a 1,000 to 1 chance.
Well, yeah, but that's what Jamaica are on, aren't they? They're 1,000 to 1 to beat New Zealand. So
I love it. I'm not being a negative.
But I'm saying the little positives that
don't break this out into shorts. It's not a little segment where we're having a go. We all love Jamaica. We were all at the game. We're all going to give it everything for them. I'm just thinking what's coming in next 2 weeks. And I watched Lebanon last night, and Joe said to me that in Australia they're going above Ireland. He's right. They're probably, what I saw last night, they would be level with Ireland. And it's going to be that could be the game of the rounds, because that looks the most level playing field. And when Joe said it, I thought, are you kidding? Then I saw it last night, and I was like, oh my god! For 30 minutes,
I agree.
They were sensational.
And let's just give Jamaica credit, because it was only the last 25 minutes when Ireland scored those 6 tries and those 30 unanswered points.
Oh, they were brilliant. Ashton Golden was sensational, wasn't he? They all
for
won. 55
minutes, they were in the arm wrestle. I know it was 18 points to 2, and realistically, Jamaica never really had a chance of actually winning the game. But, with 25 minutes to go, I think you're happy with what Jamaica have done.
I love it. I love what they did. But you imagine, this is my thing, they'll have 22 players in a squad. If they lost 1 or 2 last night, I don't know whether they did, Mick, you probably know.
Like I say...
And then you go to New Zealand, and then you get that game, and then you've got to play 11. In 2.5 weeks, you've got 3 games with lads who are probably bodies are not up to that, only probably so many of them. I just think it's so unfair for them. It's just, and I love it, and I love what they're doing. I'm just thinking outside of the box.
Yeah.
Is there anything else the game could do?
Well, if emerging
i.e. emerging nations, or i.e. a franchise in Champ 1, and you could set it up at Hunslet or whatever, or maybe even at Leeds.
I think it's tough
because they're trying to do that with Papua New Guinea in Australia. They're trying to make that fair.
Yeah, they are.
By putting Papua New Guinea into the NRL.
Well, they've got it's a franchise. It's a New South Wales team, isn't it? There's a Papua New Guinea.
And that's what they've done. So they've said we want to make them competitive. And there's a franchise for you to play.
And is that what London Irish and London Scottish were originally? Union.
Yeah.
So like the communities in London play together and help.
So if you said, let's say...
There's merits in what you said, Craig.
Let's say, 100%. For instance, if Jamaica had a Champ 1 club next year, let's just say this. Would all the lads who played last night play for Jamaica or still play for their clubs?
Well,
50-50.
I think you.
Well, how are you going to get Ashton Golding, Michael Lawrence? How are you going to go?
Yeah, not full time, but part time players.
Definitely,
they'd all go and play for Jamaica.
Definitely.
Well, there you go. Alex Simmons, whoever's running the show,
it's food for thought.
Get him in somewhere.
I mean, basically, can Levi Roots put his name and money behind it and create a franchise?
Brilliant. There you go. There you go. It's some brilliant. Do you know what? They are marketable, aren't they? They're so much.
Yeah.
I'd love. You know what? I'll speak to Bish about this. I don't know how the structure is, but Bish should be perfect. Because I want Bish to go into the commercial side of the sport. I want him to go into the sport as an administrator. Imagine him saying, "I'll run a franchise at Jamaica, and we'll get all the young talents, and we'll create something here." They could have an amateur club that filters into it, but I think there's a bit of just because then if they do go and play, they'd have a group of players who are getting ready and better and better. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they can really market it. Yeah. Listen, it was amazing, the atmosphere.
Listen, I'm buzzing because I could actually see it now. You probably wouldn't call them Jamaica. You'd probably call them the Reggae Warriors, obviously their nickname.
Yeah.
But I could see it. Whether or not.
Why couldn't you call it Jamaica?
I just wouldn't. I'd go down the Reggae Warriors because you can't have an international team in League One. You'd have to be the Reggae Warriors, and again, whether or not you'd be saturating the market. But listen, where me and Damien were sat last night, I kid you not, they're there with flags. And you're right, Craig. I saw enough last night, new faces, that potentially,
they come back them every week. I'll tell you now, them same people and go and watch them.
You could have this every week at the Southfleet Stadium or even open up Headingley, and I could see maybe 2,000 or 3,000 regularly. It's an interesting.
And imagine you building that product over a period to filter into Jamaican international. Then they start getting like you said, the Dom Youngs and his brother who say, you know what, we're going to start off there. I'm not saying it would happen because they might come through an amateur, but I think if there was something there and it was run professionally, a young player might choose to go there and say, do you know what, that's what I want to do. I want to start my career at Reggae Warriors in Champ 1, which then filters me into the international side. Listen, that's just a food for thought. I hope they do.
Just a quick bit on Ireland. Very good, very efficient. We saw the very best of Luke Carey. We saw Joe Keys, Richie Myler. That spine of 167. Wow. And I can't wait, like you say, Craig, for Ireland against Lebanon, because I saw enough from Lebanon last night that kept New Zealand. I know there was the sending off, but they managed to hold them out for the final 20 minutes. And I don't think there's too much disrespect in going down by 22 points to New Zealand. And I think Lebanon probably got more plaudits than New Zealand in the end. But yeah, just a little bit on Ireland. I thought, obviously, Jamaica tired. We'll go on to England, Samoa in a moment. Some people were saying it was a little bit cruel that the scoreline blew out, but fair play to Ireland. They spotted them gaps and they went through them. And like you said, Jimmy, Craig, that game against Lebanon, that's going to decide who's going through into the quarterfinals.
I don't know what you thought, but we thought Ireland were the dark horses. I thought George Kidd were exceptional. I know I'm biased, but because I don't even know if the kit made them look a bit heavier, but when they first run out, I said to our
bad fitting kit.
They look massively overweight here. What's going on? But it were obviously the kit. But I thought.
I'm just getting me off.
I thought he was. They now. England, Samoa, England, Australia, New Zealand. Then you're looking for a 4.
Which is Tonga.
Tonga, we haven't seen yet, have we? Have we seen them tonight?
They're tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
Against Papua New Guinea and St. Helens.
Amazing. But I think Ireland are right in there.
I agree.
And I think what you've just said there is difference between Ireland. I thought Liam Byrne was sensational. I thought his first stint was just like off the scale. I'm looking at brilliant, George. I'm looking at Frankie. Frankie was some superb.
James McDonald came on and played.
And I'm biased again. The twins. You get the ball out wide. The scoring. There's no doubt about it. So you've got 6'4" outside of that. Toby Kingan in his senior, we're Innis on that side.
Yes,
what a combination. That goes in top Super League, and you've got a kid who scored 16 tries whenever on his field. You've got Toby who's rated.
I agree.
Why should we be not talking Ireland up?
I'll tell you why, and it's what I said last week. The only problem is they will have to play Australia. And obviously, yes, are they as good as anyone else in the chasing pack? Probably, but can they beat Australia?
Well, if they beat Lebanon, they've done half the World Cup, haven't they? Because the Aussies, as Joe said, they're all saying Lebanon are going to beat Ireland. I think
the Aussies were. I mean,
the Challenge Cup is beat Lebanon, isn't it?
Ireland were the second favourites to win that group over here.
We even had a comment on the YouTube channel that went, Lebanon will beat Ireland easily after our debate.
Well, that's got to be a great.
The Aussie, we got quite a few Aussie.
I think who plays New Zealand first in now? Who does New Zealand play next?
Jamaica.
And then Ireland
They've just played Lebanon. So
Yeah, so Ireland have got...
Lebanon this weekend.
Both with no injuries, hopefully.
Yes.
I mean, I didn't know...
I think Lebanon got an injury and a man sent off. They got the halfback sent off.
Because we said this, Mick, at the start of the show last week. The injuries is going to be the thing what gets the squads through.
I agree.
Somebody told me after the England game there were 3 Samoa players are out of the tournament.
Out of the World Cup, yeah.
That's in game 1. So if you average out 1 or 2, 3 things, by the time you play 3 games, you could have 6 or 7 players out of the World Cup. That will then filter through your squad and quality. So it's one keeps. But that Ireland-Lebanon game now becomes, for me, the best game to look forward to. It goes right up there.
That's obviously Sunday at 2:30 at the Lee Sports Village.
This Sunday?
This Sunday, yes.
Wow, they've not been a lot of time then after the straight.
Exactly, and you know...
And then Ireland play New Zealand at Headingley the following Friday.
Yes.
Would it, if Ireland beat Lebanon, do they rest players against New Zealand, yes or no?
I don't know, because then like Jim said, you've got Australia anyway, so I guess it depends.
Well, you've got to, surely.
No, I don't think you rest.
What, you play your full team against New Zealand?
Well, if they...
Listen,
judging on them against Lebanon...
If you're a Richie Myra, a George King, and Innes Senior, you want to test yourself against the best. You won't be resting anybody.
You will be week after when them boys come, that's what
But a lot of this
so you're asking players to play 4 games of that magnitude?
Yes.
But players want to play in these games.
Yeah, but then there's this called a duty of care to do what's best for the squad. What's what they do it in football where they just tap each other like
You've
that?
You've got to think. Ireland are going to be huge outsiders against New Zealand, huge outsiders against Australia the next round. So you want to play in the game, just like
huge outsiders.
It's going to be 40 points on the handicap, guaranteed.
Am I hearing in football they would rest players?
They've just
and they don't tackle each other, but we're saying the biggest collision sport in the world.
I'm saying that players will not want to be rested. I agree with Mick.
It's not their nothing, other.
It's not their choice.
I think that the international players, if their coach says, look, this, that, your choice, they're all going, I want to play against Kiwis, I want to play against Australia, because these are lifelong
forget about
memories.
Australia. No. You've worded that in what like you do. You're very tricky when you do that.
Well, you're saying about preparing
I'm
for
saying
Australia game.
they want to play for Australia. It's the quarter-final of the World Cup once in a lifetime. Do they play week before against New Zealand? I think the rest.
I think they'll want to play. That's all I'm saying. I agree with Mick.
Well, yeah, I agree they'll want to play, but whether the coach decides to rest them or not. Yeah, it's
I think they'll play.
You think the coach will play him against New Zealand?
I think.
Sam, can you write that down? Because we're going to come back to that.
Because you're saying, why wouldn't Ireland think we have still got a slim chance of beating New Zealand and then avoiding Australia? Why not give it all?
If they avoid Australia, who do they play?
England. Tonga. I think
there's no easy games, Craig.
There's no easy games. That's why I think
once this World Cup,
it's not second like place in the Australia group. So
it's not like
who's coming second in that Australia group.
Yeah, good point, Joe. It's a great point.
Fiji.
So they'll play Fiji. So they might they'll go for the win against New Zealand.
There we go.
They played Fiji in 08 and lost in Ireland.
Oh, you've made 08?
2008, yeah.
What's that got to do
with that got to do with anything?
No, I'm just saying it would be. It's a bit of rugby league history there. That Ireland got to the quarterfinals in 08.
So maybe get rid of that.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. But yeah, look, that was the game I was at yesterday. Again, good spectacle. On the crowds, just quickly, people are saying the ticket prices are too high. Anybody who was in Headingley yesterday would have seen the advertisements, tickets from £10, tickets from £20. Where I probably do agree where the ticket prices, certainly with the economy crashing and people being put into hardship with the energy bills situation, is if you wanted to sit on halfway, it was like £55. £65 to sit in your stand, Craig.
So for the good tickets, it is expensive, isn't it? I think I saw someone, and I apologise for not quoting exactly who said this, but I think someone made the point is the cheap tickets aren't even selling out. I know that's a negative comment, but they're saying even the £5-10 tickets, everyone's saying, the prices are too high, but the cheap tickets are nowhere near selling out. Yeah. So we've obviously got a marketing problem more than a ticket price problem.
My thing is this: we spoke to, and I can quote him, Rob Oakes, and he said there's over 8,500 tickets already sold for a women's Rugby League game in 3 weeks' time at Edinburgh.
Yeah, that's correct.
And now they've marketed it, it's on a school day, and they've obviously gone to the schools, and they're going to put now. I've always said this. When we did the first ever Keepmoat game, it was England v Wales. I think, Mick, at Keepmoat, the first time ever, you'll know, the Keepmoat got the first international game. I think it was Wales.
It was, it was Wales or France. Yeah.
And we, to market it, I was part of getting that, and Nigel gave us it when he was in charge, and we marketed it everywhere. We did go down the school route, as in you can do them for, let's say, £1 a ticket, because we wanted to fill the last thing we didn't want was the stadium first time ever remembered for having all these empty seats. So I think the Rugby League threw a flag in, when each kid got a flag, and we went all the schools. We offered all the local schools. If I remember, some people might quote me. We filled the stadium. Correct. And the flags, it were crazy. It looked
vibrant.
From when you got the camera, visually for this. Now, we've all got duty of care to protect the sport on television, BBC, Sky. It's got to look good. If I told you how many of my mates are watching it when there's no one there, and I'm embarrassed. I'll be honest with you. I don't get negative, but I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, where is everybody? And I'm like, oh, God. My argument to the World Cup organisers is, if the sport is at a state where you can't even get the freebies out, and Mick, you're right, if you pay for a ticket and somebody gets a freebie, it's horrendous. Not kids. No. I totally disagree with. There's no adult will moan about kids getting in free.
Yeah.
I've never heard it anyway. Yeah. So for me, go to every single school in Leeds and the surrounding area, Harrogate, Otley's, wherever you want to go, and go to every school, so there's 1,000 tickets. And if you think you've got, and there's your flag, and you get them, and imagine like yesterday, if they'd have done that, and there were 6,000 kids screaming with the colours Jamaica, with the colours Ireland, it would have added to that occasion. So my tip, Mick, is we've had 5 years to prepare for this, 4 years. I'm asking a simple question. Why would that not be done? Or have they done it? Can somebody come on and say, we offered every school, they didn't want to come?
I think there's a hope that they were gonna near enough fill Headingley without having to do that. Like, people are discussing, there's one argument saying the cheapest tickets are not cheap because
it was a quarter full. Headingley was a quarter full last night.
Yeah, but they're saying the ticket prices are from £5 or £10. They're the concessions. So for children, if you can get £5-10, brilliant. But for adults, you're talking £25 up to £60 odd.
But if you've got 4 years, do you think you've got 4 years?
So what some people are saying is, we shouldn't still have to give tickets away and give them cheap to fill the ground.
Kids are the future.
Kids, yeah. Everyone agrees, kids. We had it about Big Bash, didn't we? I was saying, why didn't we hammer the schools then and fill it?
We went to the Australia game. Did you go to the Australia game?
No one's bothered about kids getting free tickets. But what the argument is that some saying, do we still have to keep giving cheap tickets to adults?
Forget about that. That's different. Yeah, that's...
No, I'm about ticket pricing.
I'm on about the stadium for the TV.
Yeah. Kids, I agree, totally should give it to kids. But all I'm saying is I think that the organisers were very hopeful. They were going to fill these stadiums charging full whack and charging £5 and £10.
Well, that's my thing. Do you know,
2013
question.
They did it.
Headingley.
Correct.
Australia played.
13,600.
13,600.
Yeah. Which I think
would every single junior club in the country get offered World Cup tickets for free? Could you ask the question to your friends?
There's no freebies, Craig. They won't be giving anybody.
What, to the amateur clubs and the junior clubs?
£5 and £10 concessions are the cheapest ones.
Nothing free. Nothing free.
Well, if I'm mad then surely a marketing things to get all the kids who are playing. Anybody who's putting their body on the line at 10-year-old and turning up on a cold morning there, let me finish. Are you telling me, so a kid turns out with his mum and dad every week to play Rugby League and we get a World Cup and we don't give them a free ticket? Are we that...
Because they think they can charge
it's
£10
got to make money, Craig. It has to make money.
That's making money. That's putting money back in the system for a kid who's turning up every week. Surely, if you choose Rugby League apart from 50 sports, are we not rewarding that kid and saying...
I totally agree. But I think they were confident they'd still fill it.
Yeah,
that's what it comes down to.
They're deluded.
Then at what time have they gone? If I'm the obvious statement, then Jim, if that is what you think is, at what points have they gone?
Cut the losses.
No. Yeah. Well, essentially, but word it as
We've now got tickets free.
What's happened? We've not sold it. We're not there. Surely look at the ticket sales. We're 2 months ahead and we've still got 8, 10,000, 20, 15,000 tickets still available.
Well, they did it last week.
Surely
they reduced tickets last week.
So they've checked the sales on their stadiums last week. That's when they've made that choice.
Mick, this is bad.
That's the thickest thing I've ever heard
so
in my
you've
life.
got Doncaster tonight. We've got France and...
Well, I'll let you in. They've sold about 6,500 for tonight.
So why would we not
It's a
go?
good game as well tonight, isn't it? Yeah.
Would
France
we not,
against Greece. They've
We
done about
finished
6,500.
would we not go
6,500.
Oh,
to
it's
any
not too
amateur club, junior club in Sheffield, Doncaster and surrounding areas? If there is, I think there's about 4 or 5 clubs. Surely them kids would be saying, come to game. If you can prove you play amateur rugby league for a club, you've got a free ticket.
Yeah.
And they might bring the mum and dad. Let's be honest, they might bring the mum and dad who have to pay for a ticket. So that's good promotion anyway. We used to do that back at Doncaster in the day. If you get the kids, they have to bring an adult. The adult gets half price, whatever.
Half price for adults, yeah.
We surely, to get the visual, this is my worry, the visual side of things, you don't want to put on my mates who I'm trying to drag them into sport has been done for 20 years and just see pockets of empty. They can't work it out. Nobody can work it out. Why?
Well, you should see Twitter. I know you're not on Twitter anymore, and you don't. Twitter's going absolutely mental about it. Every game, there's 5,000 tweets going. What's happening?
Listen,
Ticket prices is getting the attention, isn't it?
I'm going to be brutally honest. My thoughts on it are plain and simply. John Dutton has not read the room. John was warned 18 months ago. You're wanting to charge £55 for Jamaica versus Ireland at Headingley in a seat, which that same seat to watch Leeds versus St Helens or Leeds versus Wigan for 25-35. It's almost double. Some of them are over double. I also think they've messed up with the stadiums. What I saw yesterday with Italy against Scotland, that was the right game at the right ground. Kingston Park holds 10,000. There was 6,500 there.
Nice.
We got told off
good.
last week.
It
Kingston
looked
Park,
good.
where is it?
Newcastle.
Yeah, you've said all. You said all.
And you agreed.
You said all. No, I obviously, if you watch the video, I didn't have it.
Apologies.
I got it wrong.
Apologies. Hey, the best thing is I did it right. I went, see, Joe, you don't know, and I did. I'll win. I don't know.
But what I would have done personally, I would have taken that game, and I know people might think it's a bit of backward thinking, but what was wrong with taking that game to say the Shea somewhere like that? Take it somewhere which has a smaller capacity, because sadly there's not the demand, and I fear for Saturday night, and I don't want to turn this into a negative, but they've only sold 4,000 tickets for New Zealand. No, hear me out. No. They've only sold 4,000 tickets for New Zealand against Jamaica at Hull FC's ground, the MKM. So that holds 25,000. They've only sold 4,000 tickets. Again, Craig, the prices
are big.
I looked at earlier. It's £75 to watch New Zealand against Jamaica and sit in the posh seats on halfway. In the best
and the
seats.
cheapest are £25.
And the cheapest ones are £25.
Bad seats. Bad seats.
Again,
this is where I think rugby league is very parochial. We know it is. It likes to self-implode. And listen, we're gonna talk about England and that fantastic performance later on. But my worry is, you know, everybody, like you said, Craig, knows. No offence to Jamaica, no disrespect, boys, but Jamaica aren't going to win. They might be competitive for 10-15 minutes.
Well, they were brilliant, yeah.
Against New Zealand. That's going to be a cricket score, sadly. So, trying to charge 25, so try to charge 75. Try to charge 25, let alone 75.
Do you know what the saddest thing here? You can quote me on this. The saddest thing about all this is, and this is for people who are watching our show who don't follow rugby league, our lads who are putting the bodies on the lines will be some of the lowest paid sportsmen you've ever seen in your life. So about the crowds, forget about the spectacle, about the BBC, I don't know if they're paying for the World Cup or they're just sending it free. Get one thing straight, them Jamaican lads will be on absolute, I dare even say what they'd be on.
Yeah,
I know what the Irish lads, I know what that, it's not, you've got to appreciate every minute of what these players and these people who work at these, a lot of do you know the coaches? The voluntary. Probably, apart from Sean Wayne and maybe 2 or 3, the rest are volunteering to be in a World Cup, and they're giving up 6 to 8 weeks of the time for nothing.
It's
honestly, And some of these players, I'm telling you, they're working. Some of these lads you're watching yesterday will be at work this morning at 10 o'clock.
Correct, some of the Jamaican.
And I feel like I'm actually nearly in tears thinking about I'm not getting more than £100 for a game. And we're on about ticket prices and we're doing this. Well, that money should have been put straight back to them. How much would Jamaica get for yesterday?
I've no idea, Craig, but you're right. After the game, I'm talking.
You know what they got? They didn't get. I bet that, you know how this is against our sport. I bet you them. I hope them lads got even fed, because it won't surprise me if I rang up.
Sorts fed out to
Please tell me that.
Yeah, the off-field stuff for Jamaica is good.
No, for Jamaica. Forget about that.
Forget about Jamaica.
No, stop. The Rugby League World Cup committee should have a massive buffet on for all players and officials. Forget about whether they get a bit of chili.
Well, the amount of time we were waiting for the players last night indicates that we're having a feast.
Yes, but would that be their own? Would that be Jamaica people who work for Jamaica making their own food for the lads? I suspect it was. I suspect it were a local company who's probably come in. What I'm saying, Mick, is there another sport in the world where they'll come off a pitch and there must be a... We've all heard about the Toulouse banquet. Carlos is the greatest thing he's ever seen in rugby. In the days in Toulouse, there's a table bigger than that. The drinks are you go. These lads would have played last night, and they should be given the king's ransom for putting the body on the line.
We'll find out.
Do you get me?
Yeah, absolutely.
We used to play football, Mick, Day I can remember me signing on for a Sunday morning guy, came to Malcolm. I don't know if he's still alive. Lovely bloke, and he scouted me for 12 months. Do you know what I signed for? Roast beef and tatey in the day, and we used to get a roast tatey, thinking I can remember him saying we'll throw a dinner in. I was roast on when's kick off, and me and Snake Eyes turned up, and we turned up and played, and he put the roast dinner on. I hope they got their roast dinner.
They did.
Brilliant.
But the last thing on the crowds, and we said it, we were having the same discussion, very similar after the Big Bash was such a flop, is they've even said our aim is to try and match and beat the attendances for the women's football Euros.
Correct.
Now, what the women's football did that was amazing was exactly what we're on about. Hammer the schools up and down the country, coaches working in the community, going into schools, doing clubs, had tickets to give out. The only way we had half a chance of beating that was to copy them and do the same and give away loads of tickets.
Jimmy, I'd even say, and I'm not calling, and everyone's got the right to ask the show whether this is true. We went round on Saturday night, the Australia game. Headingley was packed, and this is what I'll have another pop at you. Packed with students, all dressed up. It was absolutely
wrong. Every Saturday.
Let me finish.
It was like last night.
Did we give? Please tell me, we have done a discounted to students in Leeds to come to them games, because if we hadn't even
they get concessions. Students can get concessions.
No.
No, but I mean not just on a piece of paper. Have they gone to the schools and took the World mascots?
No.
They've not gone to Leeds Carnegie and sold it.
No.
They've not gone to Leeds
Leeds Beckett.
No, they haven't.
Leeds Beckett, Leeds Uni.
The only way
10,000 students.
But the only way if you're a student, Craig, is if you go on the website to buy a ticket, and these are
50,000,
and there's a student box to tick. Yeah.
And they wouldn't have even gone into them and done a sell on that.
I'll be honest now, when me and Damien were going round Headingley before the game yesterday, a lot of people, because it was a big game with Man City, Liverpool, a lot of people didn't even know, because some of the bars that I went in prior to going into Headingley, people are looking at that and going, oh, what's this? Oh, it's rugby. Who are these?
Do you know what?
And these are people who actually live in Leeds.
Honestly, no. I was there on the Sunday before, and
Craig, people genuinely do not know there's a Rugby League World Cup taking place.
They don't.
They don't. It's heartbreaking.
On the Sunday, Headingley was fairly busy. On the Saturday, it was one of the busy. I think because it might be Freshers Week. Don't quote me if it's not. I think it's around. It's around Freshers Week. Why would they not do a big thing for Freshers Week? For the Saturday, I've never seen Headingley as busy. I'm sure it obviously it's an exaggeration, but it was one of the busiest. It's the busiest I've seen it in a year. It were absolutely heaving. I had my meal before by myself. You couldn't walk around without 10. There were probably 20,000 people in Headingley alone. And they've not. Wait, let me finish. And they've not gone and done anything. There was the crowd was decent at the stadium, but it still wasn't what you'd hope for a
All
Rugby League
this.
World Cup, and it's so sad. It's
It's
just
marketing 101. It's basic
But
marketing.
you're right. You've just used a word. This is not reinventing a wheel.
No.
This is basic
Basic.
marketing. Now, if you're telling me 2 months ago, you say to Jamaica and you say to Ireland, can we borrow 4 or 5 lads, go into these universities, we're going to ask for a half an hour platform, and we're going to say, please come to our game.
None of that's been
There's
done.
going to be this food's on, we're going to have a great time, we've got prices here for beers, we're going to try and get you some discount by the World Cup committee. Please come, there's 20,000 students here, we get 2,000 or
I've got another
3,000
one
in
as
you.
well.
Are you telling me if you took the play? I tell you what they did on the young students. If they saw the fun we had at Jamaica, the music, they clapped them at the end. If you would have took that atmosphere into any college or any university in Leeds, they'd have come. They should have took all the. They should have come and said, "Come and party with us and come and have a great time and watch us have a go." The Irish can take. The Irish people as a product, people follow it because they always know they're in for a good time.
Yeah.
So just even the Irish lads going in.
Well, it's the most marketable game ever for a good crack.
Yeah.
Jamaica and Ireland.
You could have sold that as being the best thing. Come and enjoy yourself. Forget about it.
I'd have got up phone to Guinness, and I'd have had a Guinness tent,
Yeah.
I'd have an Irish band, and
You've got
sadly there were none of
Jamaican
that.
street food outside the ground.
It's all.
You know
more,
it.
it's all, listen.
Wait,
I know the World Cup's been put back a year due to the pandemic, and I agree. Certain things are going to be out of sync, but I agree, Craig. Ultimately, fundamentally, more could be done, and the prices are too high.
And the other one is the social media. So if you looked on YouTube, I think ads for the Rugby League World Cup started popping up maybe a week and a half before the World Cup, and you know what that means. They've looked at the ticket sales and gone, oh crap, we've not done anything online, we've not done any social media, let's pay the YouTube now, rather than doing it 8-10 months ago and getting people excited. They've last minute panicked and then paid YouTube to put an ad on. That was a rubbish ad anyway, and then they paid it on for a 5-second video of saying Rugby League, and that's literally 5-6 seconds. That was 3 weeks before the actual World Cup. So they've done the social media. Everyone will comment, "Oh, I've not seen it." No one's seen it. I said for weeks before, you can't even wrap your head around that there's a World Cup coming up because no one knows. I was telling my friends, no one knows. Yeah. No one was excited. You go on YouTube, the videos. I don't want to insult the people that do it, because obviously we know the people that do it are trying, but like in general, they're not exciting videos. They're not thing. When there was just nothing build up, and then they've tried in the last 2 weeks, and they've pumped it up the day of. That's not going to get ticket sales. You've got to do that months and months and months before. Instead, they've done it the day. They've done it days. They've pumped up the YouTube channel days before, because they did that one marketing day where they all turned up. Mick were there. They've all.
Are you bringing in the American? I said I spent $25,000 a year on you to be a politician in America.
Is this
sound
good?
like one now? You're like.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Thanks, Dad. I'm just stealing your thunder, aren't I? So, it's just shocking. It's honestly really shocking that they've not done anything. And then the only content they've done is that one media day where they've asked the same 5 or 6 players 8 or 9 different questions, and they've clipped that up and put them into video. That's pretty much all they've done. And they've used it for 2 days. They didn't go out there. They didn't do their own stuff. And it shows where we're at.
We talked about it, like... when we're talking about IMG and what clubs now need to do as part of their off-field thing, and it's all about marketing, isn't it? You know, and like you're saying there, Joe, like a good marketing strategy is a long-term build-up, and then when you get within the last couple of weeks, and we're quite last minute, aren't we? You know that. Do you know what? Next week we'll go to that. We've done it with a few games recently. We do the same. Some people love to plan in advance. They're like, I've got my tickets. I'm going to this game. I'm going to that. There is a load of people who will do it. Go, do you know what? Ireland, New Zealand at Edinburgh, 2 weeks' time. Go on, I'm up for that. I'll go to it. But all they're doing now, it would have been great if they'd hammered it early. You do need to do all that late stuff. The students.
What attracts people to go? If you went to with the Women's World Cup, what attracts people to go? That you watch some of them games, it were filled with people. The atmosphere was amazing, and you're watching something incredible that the England Lionesses were doing. What are we doing? We're showing crowds of 4,000 on BBC. Which brilliant BBC have done it, but crowds of 4,000 with only a couple singing. We've had a few brilliant moments from the Samoans and Fiji doing their pre-match rituals. So there's all that, but it's just you're not going to watch that and go, I can't wait to be in that atmosphere like the were.
Listen, on is it? Go on, Mick.
I just want to say I got this message from James Gosling. Thank you for supporting the show. He says empty stands for the last 2 matches, but hardly a surprise when tickets at Leeds in middle of the main stand were either £55 or £70, and likewise at Warrington £45 or £72.
Yeah, my friend
at Headingley yesterday, to sit in the stand behind the sticks, not the Western Terrace, the Carnegie, it was £40 for adults and £30 for concessions.
And it's a Sunday at
7. And James goes on to say
this.
this is this ridiculous ambition from John Dutton.
I was there. We were there on the Australia game on this Saturday, and I went and I messaged my friends. I went, lads, we've just got some tickets. Let's go. We'll buy a couple and we'll all go halves on the tickets that we've got remaining. They searched it up and, like you said, £55, £70 popped up, and guess what the answer was?
No,
I'm not. Yeah, sorry. I might as well. I'm just going to stay at home.
And another criticism was the pop-up stalls that they had at Headingley yesterday. Now, I don't know if Shane knows this, Craig, but the merchandise stall, which had these England shirts, they're selling these for 60, and they're selling the hats for £24. Now, I'm not good at maths, but I know if I go on Shane's website, I can get a shirt and a hat or a shirt and a training tee for £54.99.
That's the question to him, asking why.
They're charging £60 for an England shirt, and that's an official World Cup stall. So I don't know if it's because they've got to pay the staff, so they put a fiver on everything.
Yeah.
But
here's a good one for you on Shane, and I hope I can quote him. He does sponsor the show by the World Cups, and we're still waiting for our banner, Shane, by the way, and the England top sign. He's been promised us. He said last week I was shifting the blame onto you. I am.
We love Shane, by the way.
Let me just say this. Shane, 2 things he said to me. I said, Shane, are you coming to the match at the weekend? He said, no. And I said, what's the matter with you? He said, I've not been offered a ticket, even though I'm the kit sponsor. I'm the kit manufacturer. And I started laughing and said, what, you've not got a ticket? He went, no. And then I said, are you that tight you don't, we had a bit of banter, but he did say he'd not been offered a ticket to the England game, which I thought...
So he's putting money in to produce these...
Well, no, he don't put money in, it's a deal he does, but yeah, you'd have thought the kit manufacturer of the national team would be allowed to go. He never. And the second one, which I thought were on par with it, he gave us the figures of how many tops have been sold. And if you forget about everything else, it just on that, you wouldn't dare say. Because it's about marketing. He's trying to sell a top which should be marketable to the 100,000 people who are going to watch the...
all around the country.
Whatever. And he's saying the figures are less than, 1.5%, whatever it is, of our supporters will buy a top in this World Cup, which, again, it tells you everything. Now, let's switch that. Let's switch this moment, yeah? I got to see Australia play. I've done that 3 times live, 4 times now. Absolutely amazing. Let me give you a plus about our players. You will never get a sport, people who are watching this and don't understand what happens in our game. Australia players, some of the best players in the world, some of the best players in any sport, some of the highest paid players in Australia, megastars, came off the pitch at Headingley, and there was only about 8 kids at the side, and I actually thought it were a bit... The kids were leaning over the banister in the middle of the game, and, not saying bugging them, but like non-stop. There's only our sport who were that good. You've got the halfback, Munster, and he's doing selfies in the middle of the game and grabbing kids, and they're laughing and they're signing balls, and we're not footballers. Footballers don't do that. They're not even allowed to go near the fans like that. Our fans have got young kids leaning over in the middle of a game, saying to the biggest megastars in the game, here mate, sign this ball, and they're signing it. Yeah. Don't you ever blame the players for this not being a man-to sport. The players are the best product, and they do everything for this game. It's on another level what happens. Did you see yesterday? Jamaica players after the game, Irish players walking around pitch for half an hour. Everybody does it in our sport. Imagine any other sport.
Week in, week out.
Giving what we give back for the fans' experience. And they still won't get any, these are kids who are not getting paid to play and might be getting paid, a bit of beer money on some cases. Yet they're stopping for half an hour to give the time up. we've got. Do you know what, mate? We're doing them a disservice.
Yeah, they deserve
this country and this game is doing our players and all the international players a disservice. You should be wanting to go to training sessions. There should be 10,000 at Edinburgh to watch Australia train. This is where the sport needs to go and has to go. And another positive. England just got off to the best start.
Unbelievable.
I cannot think what happened in that game that was a negative. It was sensational. I watched the
Kaiser Chiefs only playing one song before the power got cut.
Well,
that's negative. I think this show's going to be perceived as let's get the big booting on the.
No.
We don't want to. Listen. As we saw with the New Zealand Test series 3 years ago, when we all clubbed together and we ended up selling out Ellen Road. We never got thanks from the RFL, but We'll highlight the game's ills and the problems, but at least we're coming up with solutions.
Well, the England players could not do any more to promote this game in this country. They absolutely were sensational. I watched a load of fans behind in that first 25 minutes before the game when Sinfield and Jason Robinson were holding trophy. And just put your hand up, Joe, so we'll do it together. So it's this, and then they realise after 10 minutes. No one's saying anything to them. They're still stood there. The camera's on them. Kev's looking at Jason and going, I'll do it what he said, but he won't. Kev's too good today. I won't get caught. What the fuck are we doing? So that's what they're saying to each other. What the fuck are we doing? 10 minutes later, are you ready again? They're like that. And I'm now in stitches. And I'm going, oh my God, something's gone wrong. And then John Wilkin delivered the best line I've heard at World Cup. Come on, lad, to be fair, we've only had 5 years to get it ready and we've lost electric on Thursday. The electric's gone out. It could only happen, as the tweets were coming, Texas, only happen in Rugby League. And then Andy Dodds texted me going, please no. And then another one said, it can't happen to us. Our first game ever, and the electric's gone out at St James's Park, which has never happened in the history of St James's Park.
Never happened in a football match for 20 years.
And the best thing is, nobody would on pitch telling everybody what to do. So Kev's walked to the centre circle, I'll walk to the centre circle, and he's gone. And he's realised it's getting even worse because no one's telling him what to do. He's turned round, they've walked off, dropped trophy. It was just calamity after calamity. And then the players and Sean Wayne's army have delivered. They've saved the day.
Yeah.
The players again have saved the day.
Who foresaw that blowout? I did not.
Well, it's just sensational.
Yeah.
And if you watch behind fans, the commentators, this is what they'll commentate within a quarter of an hour. It's a very diluted atmosphere in the stadium. It's everything were quiet. The fans, it was like a grey. I'm like, what's going off? And then they made that break, and all of a sudden, it just make behind an unbelievable performance. And I'm not being negative again. It wasn't a good sell. It should have been electric. We should have been absolutely buzzing about the way they presented that game. It wasn't. I'm afraid to say, I've got to be honest, we're an honest show. It wasn't delivered with the thing them players deserve. We've just beat the fourth favourites. Third favourites. And not beat them, smashed them. And Mick, I'm going to say this because Joe and Steph gave me some stick yesterday. Dom Young was sat behind us yesterday. And we walked up and Joe, I think, went, Dad, you didn't pick him in your World Cup side. I bet you feel a rate, dick. Whatever he said. So I looked and said, no. Me, when you make an opinion on a selection, doesn't mean you think Dom Young's not sensational. Doesn't mean that you saw Dom Young playing in a game when me and Mick commented live and thought he was the best stuff talent. We couldn't believe what we saw.
Me, Jimmy and Joe had Dom Young in ours.
Yeah. But what it is you're putting Ryan Hall in there. That's not against Dom. I'd speak to Dom and his dad and family. I thought that he's amazing. And by the way, what a performance. To skip past the fullback of the same £2 million player, Joseph Swahili.
I can't pronounce his surname.
Swahili.
Well, we'll play. Right, so Joseph.
Sydney Roosters fullback.
Joseph, who is one of the greatest young talents in the game, got meant to look ordinary all game, by the way. He was out of position. I saw Jack Walker at 17 make tackles at fullback and put his head where you won't put a bullet. And he's 6'5", and he didn't get that. You know them 2 1-on-1s with Callum and other one? You watch his footwork going into that. I don't know if he didn't fancy it. He just didn't. There was something with him, whether he just got nervous, I don't know what happened on the day. We didn't see the greatest young talent in the world play. and some coach has said this to me, and he said it such a vibrant way, I want to make sure we get them on, but he said, I'm effing sick of people bragging players up in NRL and telling us how good they are. He's the best halfback, he's the best centre. He says, why do we down our players? He said, you watch that game on there, are you putting George Williams on that performance? And George Williams did it over there, by the way, and he did it over there. But you look at, what's the halfback called? For Melbourne.
One? Oh, Luai.
Yeah, he's regarded, Mick, as the number 1, 2 or 3
From
Penrith. He's regarded as the top 3 halfback in the world.
Jerome, yeah.
Well, what do we think of George Williams now then?
Well, I thought George Williams was the best player out on the park.
Joe?
I don't think he's top 3, but yeah, I get you.
Right, who isn't?
Right,
Luai, he's up there, isn't he? But
we all watched the game.
If you mention your top halfback, she'd be in it.
He's regarded as it, isn't he? Like,
Cleary's the
man. Yeah, but he's regarded as top 3, Joe.
Up and coming, certainly top few half.
So are we? You want big on George Williams before the game?
No, I've got all my hands up and yeah.
Right, let's be honest. My man of the match was George Williams.
Callum Watkins.
Yeah, probably Watkins. Even I think the whole team just played amazing.
The whole team.
Yeah, hard to pick
60 points.
Watkins and yeah.
I mean, Dom Young.
And Wellesby obviously had a great game as well. You've got to put them all in there, haven't you?
And can I pull this one right now, please? I get a lot of stick for Wellesby. I love Jack Wellesby. Jack Wellesby's in my team every day of the week. He was in my team at fullback. I made a comment at halfback. I was meant to eat my words. He hit 2 passes that were sensational. On a short side, that second one was sensational how he saw it. That was... I'm always picking Jack in my team. Get that right. I'm only be corrected because he played that well at halfback. I think I was right in, we'll see it coming in, the kicking game. Well, the only thing you could pick up, if the kicking game needs to be better. And I think Sean Wayne will know that. And Joe were right, they got Tompkins to kick a couple of these, were probably best kicks, and George did a kick which were lovely, but overall, the end of sets, we've got to get better than that.
Well, I think that's where, if Wayne feels he needs to do that in a performance, he'll use Sneedy, won't he? So,
did you see Chris Hill, Mick? I were pushing for Chris Hill. Do you think he justified it? He was brilliant, wasn't he?
Well, I had Chris Hill in mind.
I didn't, but yeah, he did justify it.
I had Chris Hill in mind.
It was just an unbelievable team performance, wasn't it? And I think that most of all, you know, we weren't critical as such, but we all had different opinions to what Wayne had chosen to do, and a lot of people had the same. You've just got to say fair play, because Wayne has got them fired up, and in a twisted way, the media and public reaction to a lot of those selections and him picking loads of Wiganers and all this, he's gone to the players and said, look, this is what they're saying. They don't think that we're up to this. Samoa are favourites at every book he's going now. Let's just show them what we're about. And he got them coming out with the perfect attitude, the willingness to just go hard, 100 miles an hour, all the way through. And Samoa were just caught in a storm from the start, weren't they? I don't think Samoa realised what was going to come at him. And you've got to give Wayne, even though I've never been his biggest fan, I'll put my hands up again and say I've got it for myself.
I saw your interview, by the way, Mick. It was sensational with Sean Wayne.
Well, I asked him the question nobody asked.
And what I loved about it is I'm thinking, Wayne, he's a right tough here. He goes, you're like me, Mick, you love this game. And I'm like, how respectful with that. So, Sean, I've always been a big fan anyway. I thought it was brilliant, your interview. I loved it.
Yeah, it was great.
And like I say, out of all the other broadcasters, journalists, I'd actually gone in and worked out the average age, and I asked the question, you know, not is it a Dad's Army sort of team, but it is, out of all the current World Cup teams that are here, England is the oldest in terms of experience and that average age. It's 28 years and 2 months.
Well, I think that was the downside of Samoa, wasn't it? I think a lot of their stars are young. A lot of their ones, they have 1 or 2. They had the prop in the second row that are old, but the rest of the team is 24 and younger, I believe.
They could not match that intensity.
Yeah.
I don't think they had the stamina.
Because
the way that game blew out is this unbelievable. It's
Do you
incredible.
think Smo looked unfit, or that me?
I just think they had to work so hard from the start.
I think it's because of obviously
jet lag.
Sean's
Massive,
gone with that particular game plan, and he's basically sucked the energy out of them, and it has blown out like it has because
I think they were one of the latest to come to this country as well, weren't they? I think they were one of the...
Well, Gary H said that to me last week. He thought that we've just been past something very important here.
It's all good, well
Keep
good.
going. But you were saying Samoa. You were saying Carl Hall had said Samoa were training the house down.
Gary Edmonton said he thought that they would take a couple of games, but the problem is they just lost 3 players on the first game out for the tournament. So your problem is now are they allowed to bring players in?
They've lost the second. Well, obviously they've got a full squad, so they've got more players.
Are they allowed to bring another 3 in to replace the ones who were out?
No,
that's why you have 20. That's why you have 24.
Yeah,
that's why you have
24.
So they're down to 21.
To 21, yes.
Wow. They don't need
they've
any
lost.
more.
They've lost
another 3 injuries here.
They've lost one of the hooker/halves, haven't they? They've lost Isaac Tago, one of the superstar Penrith players, and who's the other one? I can't remember the other one, but they've lost two out of the 3. I think, massive players that they had going.
So what would happen, Mick? Then, if let's say you lose 3 first game, you're down to 21.
There'd have to be some.
Because I was going to say when Ash Handley got flown over. Why was that allowed then? If we're saying we're not allowed to bring extra reinforcements in, if you have
there will be, Jimmy. There will be. If they have the injury crisis, then they are going to be allowed to bring players.
You know the famous story at Rugby Union, which the lads from Harrogate he used to coach Leeds Carnegie called Woody. Do you know Woody? Yeah. So Woody's famous story, what he's famous for is he was a Rugby Union player, and he's the famous story of England in the World Cup in Australia, getting loads of injuries in the pre-season before the tournament, winning to the tournament. They flew him from here, 24 hours arrived. He said, I've never felt as good, gets me back. I'm in the World Cup, the photos had come in, and as I got off the thing, they said, it's all right now. They flew him straight back. He just turned round, and they flew him straight back because Austin Healy or someone and either got there before him or somebody. He'd done this round trip. He said it's the most horrendous thing ever, getting there and being told.
Because Ash Handley never got a game, did he?
No.
They took him out there and never played him, But yeah, so he will be allowed to bring in reinforcements, but yes. If they need to, and we're desperate.
Yeah, but Mick, on the point I've got, this is we can wrap this up here because we're going to get onto the segments. All have 2 minutes so far, guys. Best performance of the weekend, and the team you still think are going to win the World Cup after the first week. You can change your mind. This is what it's all about. You got to have to stick. Only the idiots stick with what they said originally if there's been a change in what you saw.
I'll start. Performance of the weekend. For mine, it has to be England against Samoa because it was the magnitude of that performance. 60 points to 6. Who foresaw that? Even going into that sort of final 20 minutes, it was still game on. It was 24-6 or sorry, 26-6. But then the turning point was obviously Anthony Milford getting sent to the sin bin, and then them 6 tries and 28 points or whatever coming that sort of 10-15 minute purple.
You could be saying the golden. And who do you think's who's going to win it, Mick? After watching the first rounds, still stumped to come, by the way.
I watched Australia-Fiji, and Australia, as you know, Craig, they're going to grow and get better. New Zealand last night against Lebanon, they had an almighty test. Lebanon.
You can't talk that here. You've pronounced
Lebanon. And I know Michael Maguire, he won't be happy with aspects of that New Zealand performance. Neither will Marmaninga with what Australia did. I've got to say, Craig, I said England will bow out at the Emirates in the semi-final.
It's changing.
I said England will bow out.
No, you said they won't get there.
No, I did. I said they'd get to the semis and they'd be beat. All right, I'm putting my reputation on the line here, and I'm not saying because I had a very good Monday evening with Sean in Manchester the last Monday.
Please tell me this is England could win the World Cup.
England will get to the final. I'm just sticking at that.
You put one step on the ladder.
I put one step forward.
You've got us to beat Samoa or Tonga in the semi now.
Yeah, what Sean Wayne's going to do this weekend is interesting. He said after the game that Andy Ackers is going to play, Mikel Iledski's going to play. There's going to be wholesale changes. There's going to be 7 or 8 changes.
Everyone who didn't play is going to play.
So he's confirmed that. Max Sneed's going to be playing. So everybody who hasn't played, so he's got that luxury. No disrespect to France or Greece. Sean can use the next 2 games as effectively quarter-final warm-up games. Again, I don't want to come across as being disrespectful to Greece or France, and I think we're going to see that tonight at Doncaster, just what England's opposition are. I saw Greece against Bradford, and they were very helter-skelter. You know, that was a very youthful Bradford Bulls team, and they could only muster a draw. I know that was their first game over here, and they deserve a lot of respect for participating in that fixture. But with Sean Wayne being able to have that luxury, or being able to keep everybody fresh, they'll beat the quarter-final, and they'll be at Old Trafford. They'll be at Old Trafford. Whether or not they can beat Australia and New Zealand in that big game remains to be seen, Craig. But, you know, what a shot in the arm for the game. You know, we're going to talk about IMG after this segment, and you know, with IMG coming on board and the restructuring and the rechanging. Listen, starting England as World Cup champions in 2023. Who knows? I've definitely put them forward though, Craig. We won't be leaving the Emirates on that Saturday afternoon in tears. We'll be looking forward to seeing England at Old Trafford in the final. There we go.
I think my surprise of the weekend, I'll go different because I think England were amazing. They shocked me. They're amazing. I just think if we all say England, it probably gives them the respect they deserve, but I'll chuck something different out. I'm going to go actually Italy putting the sword to Scotland. I think that was I think I was just as shocked at that result than I was the England Samoa game. I think Italy have come to play. They've got a lot of they've not actually got as much NRL experience as they have in previous years, but they've obviously come hungry and they want to go and show. They obviously want to come and show the world what the Italians can do, and they showed it. They took a decent half, you know what I mean, a not bad Scotland side and took them apart. So well done to Italy. And I think still the world. I think for my final, I've still got Australia, but that second spot, I think watching the Australia game, it was crazy to watch because the subs were the same, if not better, than the starters. The subs come on and were even better. So their squad, obviously, as we know, their squad depth's just ridiculous. But they got better and better. Can the other teams do that? So no, I think Australia's still to win the World Cup pretty comfortably by what I saw.
Have you got England in the final?
Because you were semis as well, weren't you?
Ooh,
no, I think I were finalists. I
think we all did beat. Oh, you got beaten in the final. Right?
Yeah, I think so.
We all said beaten in the semis, didn't we? Yeah. Right, so it's still to get to the final.
Yeah.
Go on, Jim.
Yeah, I'm gonna performance of the week have to be England because I couldn't see anything but a really close game. So that was just unbelievable. I'm obviously England now will either have to play. Potentially could play Samoa again, or Tonga. We haven't seen Tonga yet, so it's
Tuesday night.
That's tomorrow night, and then we'll get to see if Tonga are where they're at. So I'm not going to change. I still think that was an unbelievable performance, but I'm still gonna. I'll stick. I'll still see us in the. I'll just worry if we get one or two injuries. I think I'm going to say we're still going to get beat in the semi-final, be the more negative of the group.
Oh!
But I will say as well, because I gave some information on the bookies the other week, England have now gone into...
Don't spoil our segment, Jim.
Oh, we're doing it separate?
Yeah, we'll do it.
Right, Jim, I'm going to do we'll call this a Mick Gledel U-turn, as in... It is a Mick Gledel U-turn from now on.
Do I do many U-turns?
Well, I dare say so. So what I will say is the performance of the week for me was England. I had to laugh. I don't know if any of you noticed this when they did the national anthem. I found it hard because I've never said King before.
Yeah.
So I was like, God, I like Jerusalem. That's my song. I believe they should do Jerusalem. But it was God Save the King, and I watched it and I could see about 8 players thinking, don't get this wrong. And then it went on Victor Radley. Is it Radley?
Yeah, Victor Radley, yeah.
And they put it on Victor, and he's got the biggest grin you've ever seen in your life.
Because
they put, and he's thinking, all my mates in Australia are going to go, you two-faced. You could see what they were doing anyway.
No, because he's their king as well. It's still there.
No, forget about all that.
It's
You went too deep.
yeah.
It was a bit of banter, obviously a banter. I'm thinking they've stopped on me. All my mates have probably given me stick saying you've left Australia. So he's had some stick, and he first started laughing, and I think he mentioned it in an interview. I think he said, "Oh my God," and you could see we're thinking, "Don't get these words wrong. Don't get these words wrong," and he never. So it's that, and my U-turn is if England. I think they've got the squad. I was absolutely shell-shocked how poor Samoa were.
Yeah.
And I've got to be honest, and I had them up there. What I've seen yesterday, the Aussies are supreme for me. They're deservedly favourites. There's reason why they've only been beat once in 6,000 whatever Test match series or whatever the record is. I think that'll stay intact.
What have you just made up there?
The World Cups, they've never been beaten in a World Cup, have they, since 70 something?
New Zealand won it.
08.
08.
Oh, God,
You made up a...
I think what you mean to say is Australia have won it 11 times.
Something like
They're
that.
looking for the 12th.
The 1 to 3 on.
Yeah.
If you pick at little things, you've got a little mind.
That's the worst made up stat he's ever
If you're
done.
making big things little things, you've obviously
If we stopped to every one of them, we would never get a show. Just let him flow.
Let the king flow. I want to listen to the king.
So what I'm saying is, Mick, on that stat is they're worthy favourites.
Yeah.
And I hope people get a chance to see him. I've done it. I went to see him, and I thought sometimes we're going to do a segment in a minute of the best player you've seen so far in the World Cup, and we'll keep this going. And he's not an Australian, the one I'm going to pick in the next segment. I couldn't believe when I watched how good he is, and the television has not done it justice for 4 or 5 years. Me watching it till I saw bits that I thought that is just absolutely.
It's not an Australian.
He's not.
Mine's from last night's game.
It was sensational, but we'll go on to that after this. But yeah, the U-turn is England will definitely 100%. I thought they'd all travel and be over a bit sharper. I think injuries are taking toll. England have got a hell of a chance of winning.
Just
semi-final match.
Semi-final match getting to the final.
Just a quick one. How do you feel? Obviously, the captain's challenge was used quite a lot.
Big fan.
Are you happy with that?
I'm a big fan of it.
I don't like it stopping flow.
Because obviously Damien's new to rugby league.
Yeah.
He doesn't really know much about it, so he's learning. But one thing he said, which I agree with, is the captain's challenge. It stops. The music starts pumping out.
Exciting,
if
yeah.
you're not a fan, you do not know what's going on. I mean, there was crazy Jamaican ladies in front of us, and they've got the maracas, and they're going like that, and with a flag, and
So were they enjoying the little pause in the music?
Yeah, they were enjoying. They were enjoying it.
Adds a bit of drama, doesn't it?
But
I think with a,
Mick's saying it's a bad thing. You've doubted it.
Yeah.
So that's what I was trying to understand.
You're saying it's a bad thing.
I think from a sporting perspective, like you said, Craig, it's a bit stop-start, isn't it? But clearly,
for
the Jamaican ladies with the.
As a fast collision game.
They were enjoying the music.
It's a bit
It was just interesting to experience it because obviously it's in the NRL. They've already said it's coming into Super League next year for the TV games.
Brilliant.
So the captain's challenge.
Listen, I don't do that. Then we'll back it. I just don't like them to stop the flow.
I mean, for me, it summed up last night. The one that we had was when Bish, they challenged it, and they were correct. And I just think we know that it's hard for the referees, and you can like or dislike referees and the standard of them. But if England are in that semi-final and it's a tight game, which you'd imagine it is, and we get a bad decision and we challenge it and we get it overturned and you win the game, but there's so many big games that get swung on big decisions. I just think, yes, of course, it stops us flow a little bit, but it could be the difference between winning a World Cup and losing one. Bad decisions. So.
That's what the NFL's turned into. I think the downside is like what Dad said. The NFL now is they do it. Obviously, it is based on play, but literally now they review pretty much every single play, so it's that slow of a
How many? I thought you got a limited amount though.
Oh no, it's not about in our sports only one.
In Captain's Challenge.
Yeah, in the NFL,
it's built up to a point where every single play it has to be the right
flags us and it's horrendous.
Well, that's why I think it should be limited, and I'm quite passionate about this because I'm a big fan of it. If you look at tennis. And when they do it in the Challenger line calls, at cricket, when they can challenge decisions, if they get it right in the grounds, and when it goes to the screen for a challenge, they get the music going and build up the tension, a bit like no challenge, they can make it better. But if it's two stop start,
and please just explain what's happening. Mick's right. If you're on the television, please just
That's
let
it.
people know who are watching it what's happening, because that's.
I'm sure the commentators do on TV.
No, but I was on about in the stadium.
In the stadium,
nobody knew in the stadium what was going on.
Yeah, in the stadium.
I'm a rugby league connoisseur. I knew that Jamaica were challenging that knock on, and quite rightly, I think they had 2 successful challenges.
Yeah.
But no, look, it's been the full 80 minutes on Show Me the Money Rugby League TV. It has been our very special World Cup sort of roundup of what's happened review, and don't forget tonight it's at the Keepmoat in Doncaster. It's France against Greece. Tomorrow it's at St Helens. It's Tonga against Papua New Guinea, and on Wednesday the first week of the Rugby League World Cup concludes with Wales against the Cook Islands at the Lee Sports Village. Unfortunately, I'm not going there. I'm off to watch Manchester United versus Tottenham, so I feel a little bit naughty, Craig, not going to the Rugby League. What are you saying? Why are you calling me two-faced?
Well, what's the middle of our World Cup? You go to watch football.
This has been...
And I'll tell you now, if you ever mention football while there's a World Cup, you're banned from the show. Sam, I'm not having that.
Craig, can I just...
Yellow card, 10 minutes, bang.
I'm just telling you what I'm doing this week.
Hey,
I'm off to enough
Captain's
World Cup
challenge
games.
on that. Off.
Are you saying I should give the Man United Tottenham tickets to someone
Are you
else?
talking about football and we'll... No, bollock. Sorry, Sam, get it off.
Right.
Hey, by the way, we want to try and break our record this week with views, please. Everybody back us in. We're trying our best.
Everybody watch it and...
Share it.
Share it, and there's going to be segments now. We're going to be doing a special Bradford Bulls segment, which Craig's really looking forward to.
He's got a Bradford shirt ready for it.
We're going to do an IMG because I was at Manchester on Thursday. We've got more from IMG.
We've got our best player segment coming up now.
Yeah, the best player segment.
And Jimmy's going to do us a bookmakers 10 minutes.
Yeah, the bookmakers
right, here we go.
Changed.
Right, thank you very much.